Considering that this project has already covered 2 actual airplane-focused games, it's weird that we're now getting an appearance from famously evil aerospace and arms defense company Lockheed Martin, who participated in developing the technology for a famous game series. And for all the series it could be, it's one where people made of blocks kick each other in the face. In 1993, Lockheed Martin engineers teamed with Sega's Top Line studio to develop a fighting game featuring fully 3D polygonal graphics, which had never been done before. The game was called Virtua Fighter, and it caused a sensation in arcades both in Japan and the United States for its boundary-breaking visuals, tagged as the dawn of a new era in gaming. A tantalizing glimpse into the future. The characters were blocky, but the visuals were smooth, and the basic moveset was precise. They quickly developed a sequel, Virtua Fighter 2, the following Christmas, and ported it to the Sega Saturn nearly as quickly. Both were acclaimed, although the somewhat generic character roster and thin movesets were more suited for arcade briefness, as it lacked the mechanical depth of its competitors like Street Fighter or Tekken, or the vivid characters and lore of Mortal Kombat. They just as quickly got to work on a third game, to be developed on Sega's brand new Model 3 system board. Virtua Fighter 3 released in early fall 1996, and remained hugely popular in arcades for being aesthetically interesting and structurally basic, for walk-up-and-play fun. The following year, they re-released Virtua Fighter 3 with a team battle mode, which had started to become all the rage in fighting games at the time, allowing each player to have multiple characters per matchup to battle each other. A Saturn port of VF3 was planned, but ultimately cancelled. But the team battle version ended up eventually ported to the Sega Dreamcast. Back on the Mortal Kombat Gold episode, I talked about how that game's biggest problem was how fast technology moved in the late 90s. And as a spruced-up spin on a 2-year-old game that lacked a lot of structural depth, it felt old the moment it was released. Well, by the time it dropped on the Dreamcast, Virtua Fighter 3 is a 3-year-old game, having been originally released the same month as the Nintendo 64. And VF3TB feels every bit the creaky bones of a spruced-up port of a spruced-up port of a 3-year-old game, practically ancient in technological times. Virtua Fighter 3TB's greatest enemy when it comes to its place in my project is context. If I had just thrown it on without thinking all these years later, maybe I find it charming in its age. But knowing what was going on around it, popping this game in on October 18th, 1999, 6 weeks after the launch of the Dreamcast, 6 weeks after Soul Calibur and Power Stone came out feeling genuinely boundary-pushing and revolutionary, and 3 weeks after the release of Marvel vs. Capcom, a complex, overwhelming orgy of sound and fury, as well as coming out a few days before the King of Fighters Dream Match 99, which is also a port of a port, but feels retro in a lively, inspiring way. Virtua Fighter 3TB just can't help but feel stodgy and basic. Rotating on a rigid 8-way run axis, and having that rotation be built out of one of the attack buttons instead of the directional stick, takes a lot to get used to after being familiar with Soul Calibur and Power Stone's free-form movement. Compared to the lithe, fluid moves mastery of Soul Calibur, or PlayStation's prominent Tekken series, or the deliberate strategic structure of Marvel vs. Capcom, Virtua Fighter 3TB feels thin and run down, with just a couple basic punch-kick buttons, since one of the buttons is taken up by rotation, that don't even lend themselves well to button mashing. The strategy that got me farthest in this game was to just rotate, do one basic kick, then back away, rotate, one basic kick, repeat. I got surprisingly far performing this way, but it was absolutely not fun or satisfying, and absolutely felt like a step back in pretty much every way from the fighting games I had been playing. Again, if I had just picked this one off the pile and put it on, I might have had more leeway with it. But knowing what it is, and what it's presenting, and who it's presenting against, and where it is on the timeline, just means that it comes off feeling small and unnecessary, and you feel every bit of its 3-year age gap. And against this new generation of incredible, boundary-pushing, revolutionary new fighters, Virtua Fighter 3 TB just can't help but feel hopelessly outdated. Next time, y'all want to see retro fighting done well?